I didn't always know how to express what I was feeling through my art. At one point, my music did not sound like my life at all. However, what you are exposed to changes everything. You think you know, but you have no idea. This is Late Bloomer Confessions, episode 6, How I Found My Voice. So, let's stay within the time frame of late 90s, early 2000s. You know, my cousin, he is showing me the ropes when it comes to music creation and participating in hip hop. At that time, allow me to set the stage for what hip hop looked like when it comes to mainstream and all of the big mainstream, big name artists. We had Jay-Z, DMX, 50 Cent, Nas. Pac and Big had already passed away at that time. You had the Locks with Jadakiss, Mace, Cam. You had Big Pun. Now, what is the common thing amongst all of these big name artists? They all spoke about life in the streets, coming up in the hood, hustling, robbing, shooting, everything that involved coming up and being influenced by street life. And of course, me, a young, impressionable teenager, coming up in that time, learning to participate in hip hop. As you gain a skill set, what's one of the first things that you start doing? You start to become what you see, or you start to impersonate and follow behind the ones that came before you and set the stage. All of these street artists in the limelight and in the mainstream, that is the main influence that I have. So I model everything that I see and hear. And of course, when it comes to, you know, what I'm writing about and the content of my raps, it does not necessarily reflect what I am doing. And I remember it was a moment where my older sister, she had, I don't know if she called me or texted me. She was like, man, bro, she got a hold of one of my notebooks around that time. And she was like, man, bro, is everything okay? I was reading through your rounds and I just want to know, do you want to talk? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of this content was like, you know what I'm saying, it was raw, violent, uncut. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I am simply imitating those that came before me. It's similar to when you listen to Kobe talk, you know, or if you just watch highlights of Kobe's career. What he was imitating was what came before him, and that was Mike. And who better to imitate than one of the greatest of all time? And when you hear Mike talk about who he imitated, he said, yeah, I studied Dr. J. I imitated Dr. J. This is what Mike is saying. So for me, as a young up and coming rapper, I imitated what I saw until my cousin introduced me to underground hip hop. Before this, I had no idea what underground hip hop was. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what that meant, what that stood for. But when I had started going out, you know what I'm saying, to visit my cousin on a regular basis, you know, he would put in these CDs of these artists that I had never heard before. You know, he'll put in Talib Kweli. Who was that? Royce the 5'9". Who was that? Apathy. Who was that? Most Def. Who was that? You know, Lot of Dark Man. Who was that? Cocoa Brothers. Who was that? And so many underground artists. Canibus. Who was that? You know what I'm saying? And he started playing these records, and it instantly changed the way that I started to see and hear hip hop. because now I'm listening to a whole different approach. These guys are more lyrical. They're coming up with different concepts. They're being more creative with their wordplay. Now on the main stage, we had Eminem. Eminem was one of those artists that, brought a light to being super lyrical. We had never heard anything like it. Of course, he's a white boy, but what this dude was doing with words on a mainstream level, there were few artists that were doing that. And so as my cousin is exposing me to this new, I can remember the first time I heard Reflection Eternal, Train of Thought, Talib Kweli and High Tech. It blew my mind. I had no idea music like this existed. I thought the only good music when it comes to hip hop was the big name artists. So now I'm figuring out, wait a second, you don't have to be a street artist to be dope. Now, there was a phase where I put the pen down. Well, not necessarily I put the pen down, but I stopped writing rap. And there was something in me, it's just like, you know what? I don't know if it was around that time where I couldn't afford beats or whatever, but it was like, you know what? Forget trying to rap to a beat and, figure out these patterns. I'm just going to write. I started writing poetry. This was an entire phase of my artistry. Now, what this did was it taught me how to sit with my emotion, how to express vulnerability, and how to choose my words carefully. Because words without a beat behind it hit way differently. So you have to be a lot more thoughtful about putting your words together. This helped me to evolve my writing. Now, like I said, I'm not writing to fit a beat, because a lot of times, we can think about artists, think about rappers per se, that really are not really saying anything. They're being carried by the beat, the music, the production behind it. They're not really saying anything. They could be mumbling or humming, but the feeling of the vibe of the music is carrying the entire song. However, when it comes to what I was going through and what I was turning into, words started to matter a lot more. Now, what this helped me to evolve into, Christian rapper, because now, because of poetry, I am able to express the authenticity of who I am and where I'm at in my life, in real life. It didn't become about what sounded good. It became about what's real. Especially in poetry, you just free form and free write exactly what comes to you, what you're feeling in that time. What that helped me to do was a practice that I did was I sat down and I was like, okay, what am I feeling? Now let's try to find words to express what that emotion is. That in itself right there can transform the entire spectrum of who you are as a writer specifically. And this helped me to evolve in a more authentic way. And bam, here we go. I'm a Christian rapper now, because now I'm talking about what really occurs in my real life. And the lesson in this is finding your lane sometimes requires you to unlearn other lanes. It's difficult to express something that you don't yet have a language for. When you can't find words to properly express what you are really going through and what you are really feeling, it could be very limiting. And this takes time, and this takes practice. And it requires you to be exposed to new things, because exposure expands your understanding. If a plumber came to you and started speaking plumber terminology, it would probably sound like foreign language. He understands it though. You wouldn't understand it until you started to expand your exposure to learning specific things about plumbing. And when you start learning and you become exposed to different literature and different terminology, and then you have this same plumber come to you and start to have that same conversation with you, now it becomes something that you understand now. It becomes a part of who you are. Now you get what he was saying, and you can almost say, hey, I can be a plumber now. You know what I'm saying? And it's very important for us to understand that, especially if you're an artist. Your voice lives within your truth, not within you pretending. I learned that the long way, and it has helped me become the artist that I am today. So I ask you, where is it an area of your life that you're copying what you consume? What voices have shaped your thinking? And what would happen if you started to speak from your experience, not expectation? That's something that you have to figure out. And that's all that I have for you today, man. My name is Fable Angelo. If you enjoyed this content, I release a new episode every single week. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, drop a comment. Let me know how you think. I'm interested in your story as well. And if this resonated with you and you would like to continue this journey with me, the journey of becoming a late bloomer yourself, I have something that I created exclusively for you and those just like you. I only make this available to my late bloomer tribe. Anybody else outside of that does not have access to this, probably never will have access to this. If this is something that interests you or piques your curiosity at all, there is a link in the description. Click that link, enter your information, and you will have instant access. And with that being said, until we meet again, I bid you farewell. God bless. I'm out.